everyone. Welcome to Grow Roots. This is Shannon, and this is my July 2025 container garden tour. So welcome everyone. If this is your first time watching my channel, Grow Roots, I just want to thank you for joining. And if you're looking for container garden inspiration, I think that you've found the right video, because I have over 40, I think I counted 55 containers all throughout my backyard garden, my front garden, and you will be able to see what I'm able to grow in my climate, which is North Texas, and we live on the border of zone 8A and 8B, and we are starting to get into the hot summer portion of our year, and 100-degree temperatures are just starting. Well, we've had a few 100 degrees, but we've been consistently in the mid to high 90s, and now we're about to get into the hundreds in July and August. So this might be the best that you'll see in my containers. And some are already petering out, and you will see that. And I'm just going to be completely open and honest with y'all about what works, what doesn't, what my favorites are, and all of the things. And so we're going to start off here. This is Chloe. Hi, Chloe. She's our backyard garden cat, and she follows me around on our garden tours. She's just the sweetest. So she's going to try and beg for my attention. We'll have to see what we can do here. But let me start right here at this container. So this one, let me just first explain why I have so many containers. Let's do that. I love gardening. I have a huge passion for gardening. I have some gardens all back here. If you want to learn all about the plants that are there, you can watch my June backyard garden tour, and I can pop the link on the top right of the screen. But I have a small space to work with, and so one of the things that I do to add and grow the plants that I want to grow is I just add containers, and it works for me. I think also another great thing about containers is that if the plant doesn't work in that location, I can move it to a different location, whether it be, it needs more sun, move it to more sun. It needs more shade, I can move it to more shade. So that's one of the reasons I also love container gardening. A third reason is I actually have some potted in my landscape. If you can't tell, this is actually a container. And the reason that this is a container is because this spot right here in the center, which is like the focal point of this garden, for whatever reason, whatever is planted in the ground there dies. And so I'm just done with that. And I've been successful in containers in this location before. And so I went back to what I found to be successful. And so I have, actually, it's a limelight hydrangea that I'm training into a tree form this year. And I have it underplanted with a beautiful planting of scaevola and cascading pink and white vinca. There is dichondra in there somewhere, but the dichondra has kind of been swallowed up by the cascading vinca. And now you almost can't even tell that it's in a container. Like in the front here, you can't tell that there's a container, which I love. So far, I mean, obviously this container is doing amazing and the limelight's doing great. And that is the whole point of that container. But starting with this one, this is full of Chippendale daisy zinnias. And these are the cutest little things. So vibrant, and they're very, they were super easy to grow from seed, and they're super fast growing, and they have just been rock stars. They honestly almost died on me when I went on vacation. It didn't get watered quite enough, and they did kind of get crispy. And when I came back from vacation, I pruned off all of the crispiness, all of the dead, and all of what's left over I just kept in here, and it has reflushed amazingly. It's been 2 weeks since I cut this completely back, and they are just like, hello, we're still here, and we're gonna bloom for you, and we're gonna look amazing. So these are great zinnias. I love these colors too. Also planted in there with it is black-eyed Susan vine. I grew this last year all along my back fence and in some other areas, and I got so many seeds. And so I wanted to grow some in containers to see what they would do. And so I have this like this trellis that I made out of a tomato cage, and then it helps hold up my Chippendale daisy zinnias, which can be floppy, by the way. So the tomato cage serves to hold that up a little bit, but it also serves as something for the black-eyed Susan vine to grow on. So I love that. Now, black-eyed Susan vine, what I learned last year growing it is that it'll bloom in the spring when the temperatures are cooler, and then it stops blooming when the temperatures are consistently in the mid 90s into the hundreds, and then it will bloom again prolifically in the fall. Like when temperatures start to cool down in September, these guys will be in full bloom and they will be absolutely glorious. It's a yellow bloom. My black-eyed Susan vines, I tried to get a pink one this year and 0 of them germinated. So that was a fail, but maybe next year I'll try again. We will see. Over next to this is a Summer Pastels yarrow, grown from seed, winter sown, and it's doing okay, but it's actually doing pretty well. It's focusing on leaf growth more than, putting energy into the petals, I think, but it's doing great, and I'm going to put this into the landscape probably in the fall. I have a new garden that I'm going to be starting, so this is going to go beautiful there. And then here is my herb planter. Look at Chloe. She is just like, please pet me. I see your hands touching the plants. Please touch me too. She is so cute. But this herb planter was full of apple mint, which you see here last year, and peppermint, which you see here. And they have just completely taken over all of the spaces. Pretty much the apple mint and the peppermint, they've taken over, which is totally fine. But I do have some oregano right there, and I have some lemon thyme right there. And all of these have survived the winter from last year, and I pick the lemon thyme all the time for cooking, especially with chicken, and the oregano as well. And then the apple mint is really good in beverages and things like that. Peppermint is really good in the teas in the wintertime, so that's super fun. And then next to it is a container of a special type of gomphrena. I've never grown this particular variety before, but this is Fiery Sunset, I believe, gomphrena, and I got this from Botanical Interest, and at first I didn't love it. I don't know why, but it is a little bit floppy. It's on the floppy side for a gomphrena, and then it took a long time to get going compared to my other varieties of gomphrena that I have, and so at first I didn't love it. Now it's taking off, and I love it. I love this red color. It's absolutely beautiful. This also has a little bit of an orangey color as well. And it's supposed to have a white mixed in, but I haven't seen any that were white. And then I have a Buddy Purple gomphrena, 2 of those I think that are in here. This is a dwarf variety of gomphrena, and let me tell you, I think this might be my favorite variety of gomphrena so far. It doesn't get any taller than, well, right now it's only, I don't know, 8 inches, if that. 6 inches, and this color is just unbelievable for that Buddy Purple. I got those seeds from Baker's Creek Heirloom Seeds, I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna have to check on that. But anyway, that's my gomphrena container. And then coming on over, this is my desert rose. This desert rose, oh my goodness, she is just it is one of my favorite containers for sure. I have to take it in the winter. It does not survive lower than, I think, probably 40 degrees. But she is just stunning. Look at Chloe, oh my goodness. You're just such a distraction. Yes, you are. How can I talk about plants when you're just so cute laying here next to me? Anyway, desert rose. This year she struggled a little bit, and I know a couple reasons why. Number one, I forgot that I had to fertilize it. And so this plant did not get fertilized until a few weeks ago when I realized, oh, I never fertilized it. I forgot you're supposed to fertilize these guys. So I fertilized it with a slow release fertilizer, Plant Tone, and then I also came in with a weekly fertilizer, and it's definitely bouncing back. It has a lot more blooms right now than it did. The leaf growth still is not what it was last year. And then another reason that I think it's struggling is because it really needs to be pruned. It has way too many branches right now, and desert rose really likes to be kept, smaller, more compact, if that makes sense to you guys. So this is the time right now when it's in its growing phase to go ahead and prune. And so a lot of these smaller things are going to get pruned off. I'm going to get rid of a lot of these blooms by doing so, but overall it's going to be what's best for this plant. And then I also need to repot it, to be honest. It hasn't been repotted in a year and a half, and I can tell that it really does need to be repotted, but I absolutely love it. One of the things Desert Rose is famous for is this beautiful caudex. This is called the caudex, this really bulbous part, thick trunk. This was actually a cutting, believe it or not, and a lot of people say you cannot get this really beautiful thick caudex with a cutting, but I'm here to prove you wrong, because that is just a beautiful caudex right now. And so anyway, I need to prune it, I need to repot it, and that is going to be done in the next week or two. This container is just a piece of my Mr. Goodbud sedum. I had a big one planted in my landscape, and unfortunately it is no longer with us. But when I transplanted it last, I got a piece of it and rooted it. Well, it was already rooted, so I just stuck it in a pot, and I'm so glad I did. I think I'm gonna grow Goodbud sedum in pots from now on, because in the landscape, for me, I think I water too much and it just doesn't like that. So I tried to put it in a dry location, and then other plants swallowed it up, and it just kind of didn't survive. So this is Mr. Goodbud sedum. In the fall, it will be full of beautiful, bright fluorescent purple blooms, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And then coming over here is a lovely pot. I love this one. These zinnias are cupcake mix, and they're pinks and whites. They don't quite look like the seed packet. The seed packet showed like they're supposed to be like a double petal or a triple petal, and these are definitely single petal. All of mine are single petal, so I'm a little disappointed because they don't look like what the seed packet said that they would. But they're a tremendously tough plant. Again, these guys were not watered as well, but they did not get crispy like the Chippendale daisy zinnias did. They just kept going and kept blooming, and I have tons of blooms in here, so love these. They're great, but for as tall as the zinnia is, the flower is a little bit on the small side for me. I do love the color, but I don't think I'll grow cupcake mixes again. And then it's mixed in with some Verbena bonariensis, and it's doing good now. Let me see. Oh, do I need to go back in here and spray? I don't know if you can see this little bug that's on there. Whatever they are, they're eating the purple verbena, and they're eating the flowers too. And so they also fly. I just killed that one, so that's good. And I went in here and really got it taken care of. I think I need to go back for a second dose of insecticidal spray, but I sprayed it good and it got rid of those for the meantime, and then my blooms started looking so much better. So it's looking good. And then it had bunny-tail grass in here, but the bunny-tail grass has expired. This is my second time growing bunny-tail grass, and I do love it, and it looks amazing in the spring, and then it gets into the heat and it does not do well. So great bunny-tail grass. If you guys live in a cooler climate, definitely grow bunny-tail grass, but doesn't really work for me. Oh yes, and I forgot, there is Gomphrena globosa in here, and this is a mix of colors, and this is that dark purple color, which is beautiful, mixed in with the zinnias, and then this one is a white color. So absolutely love Gomphrena globosa, and it's doing well in this container as well. And then over here is my strawberry planter, and it has a balloon flower in the center, which I love this balloon flower. I grew this from seed. They're a little bit tough to grow from seed, but this is one of the ones that I did, and so it's just this beautiful, beautiful color. And I also have a second batch of strawberries coming. maybe it's a third batch, but my strawberries are doing okay. I find that in the summertime, the strawberries are much smaller. They're not as sweet. You know, the leaves are looking a little bit rough on the edges there, but the strawberries are still doing well, and I love the bloom flower mixed in with that. And then over here is my Blue Days Evolvulus. I just kind of popped it in this container as a holder. I'm gonna put this in the landscape again. I have a new garden bed, so waiting on putting lots of things there. It won't survive the winter, but I can take it in for the winter, and it survived this past winter inside. It's not currently blooming for me, but I think it's trying to put out some buds right now, so hopefully it will. And then right here, this is a fun one. This is Summer Carnival Hardy Hibiscus. It is getting ready to bloom, but let me just tell you, this plant really struggles for me. I'm kind of at a loss. The grasshoppers are eating it alive, and it's because it's already a stressed plant. It's always been a stressed plant for me. This is my third year with it, and it's just struggling. I love the variegated leaves though. They also have pink on them, and the flowers are beautiful, but it's not a healthy plant, and I'm not exactly sure what to do. But I underplanted it this season with bluebonnets, and bluebonnets are still blooming. I cannot believe this. I have bluebonnets come and go in other containers and in my landscape, but for whatever reason, in this container, they are still blooming for me, like newer blooms too. That's unbelievable. And I've got lots of seeds that I'm able to get from this plant as well. I've already harvested quite a bit, but there's another one that's ready to harvest. These seeds are ready, but like where's the other? This seed pod is not ready to harvest. But anyway, bluebonnets in July almost, so that's amazing. Right, so coming over to this planter. This one, besides my I have top 3 containers so far, and this one might be my number 1. I'm not really sure, but the limelight container that you saw with the scavola and the vinca, that's definitely in my top 3. This one is in my top 3, and then I'll show you in my curbside containers that I have Mist Expires Blue Salvia with vinca, and that's in my top 3. But this one is absolutely one of my favorites. Unfortunately, you can't see right now, but I have Cosmos apricota planted in it, and it's got a ton of new buds on it, but the existing flowers are a little bit specked, so you can't see it. So anyway, Cosmos apricota in there, and then this is Gomphrena globosa. This particular one that I planted here, you know, I didn't know the colors when I planted them in the containers yet. They weren't blooming. So this one is a pink, the light pink variety. That globosa mix is a mix of the purple, the white, and the pink. And these all happen to be pink ones, which is absolutely gorgeous. With the Cosmos apricota, which when the Cosmos apricota are blooming, they're absolutely spectacular. And then down here is the buddy purple Gomphrena, and it's the dwarf. And so I love this, like, these are just prolifically blooming down here with denser foliage, and then up here is just that wispy look that I also love about Gomphrena. And so this container is just absolutely, hands down, one of my favorites. I definitely will do this again. And this buddy purple is just a rock star. I absolutely love this buddy purple mixed with the regular globosa. It's awesome. All right, so moving on to these containers over here. Down here, this again is a placeholder for some Sweet William, I think it's called Double Mix, and these I get them from Botanical Interest, and they are the best Sweet William ever. I will grow these plants every year because they are biennial, so they will last a couple years, 2 to 3 years, and then they will die. And I always want to make sure that I have fresh ones ready to go, because it takes 1 year for them to grow this foliage, and then next spring they will bloom for me, and they will be these amazing blooms. I'm going to pop a picture on the screen for you what they look like when they're in bloom, but it's incredible. It's almost like a big hydrangea, the way that the blooms look. And so they're great, and they're evergreen. And so I love, just this container is awesome for the the foliage alone. And again, these are grown from seed, winter sown this year. They actually do really well winter sown. And these are going to be ready to pop in the garden for next spring. And then this is mammoth dill, and it's on its last legs. It's going to peter out in the heat, and I knew that. But look at these flowers. This is just one of the most unusual, beautiful, wispy flowers ever. I grew this to hopefully hopefully for the swallowtail caterpillars, because this is their host plant. I really wanted to see those swallowtail caterpillars this year, but I'll be completely frank, I haven't seen not a single swallowtail butterfly and since this plant has been going anyway. I saw them really early spring and then they disappeared, and I don't know what happened. All of the butterflies kind of are absent this year, which is really, really weird. I see the bees, but in terms of the butterflies, they're not really existent. I've seen a couple, but not a lot, and no swallowtails. So kind of disappointed about that, but I'm still growing the mammoth dill. I love the way it smells, and I love the flowers. So it's kind of cool. And then I have a container of Rudbeckia and Ageratum. So this, again, grown from seed. This Rudbeckia is doing just fine. I did have to clip quite a bit of dead crispiness out of that when I came back from vacation. Like I said, they didn't get watered quite enough when I was on vacation, but they survived for the most part. You can see this is part of what died off that I clipped off, but they're doing good. And then down here is Ageratum Leda, and it's doing okay. Not a whole lot of blooms on this plant, but I have others planted in the ground that bloom a lot more. So I think Ageratum Leda is better for a landscape annual, not necessarily a container annual, because they haven't done well in containers for me. Let's see. Over here I have a Ferris wheel container, which is super, super fun, and it's planted up with hens and chicks. And the reason it's planted with this, it's very purposeful. It's because these are very difficult for anything to be kept alive, because they dry out super quickly because they're super small, and then in the winter time they'll be killed off as well. So I discovered that hens and chicks is a great succulent to pop in there. It will survive our winters. It'll also survive our summers with very little water. Some of them aren't looking amazing, and I need to pull out, this is like wild purslane trying to grow in there, but these look great, and these look great. And then this one's not so great. But anyway, I love that. It's just a really fun container to add to the garden. And coming over here, you have some containers here. This is actually, these were just purchased yesterday. There was a big sale at Shades of Green in Frisco. They were doing a buy 5, get 5 free for their 1 gallon perennials. And so I picked some things up because I have a new garden bed starting in the fall, and I'm gonna pop these in there. So I just have to keep these alive. I'm not gonna plant them in the landscape right now, but I just need to keep these alive until the fall, which I think I can do. But these were purposeful containers. This is a Shasta daisy. I don't know the variety. My mother-in-law was given some Shasta daisies from a friend that is a master gardener in Collin County, and then she had so much that she gave some to me, and this honestly needs to be divided. I see this is like 5 or 6 different plants of Shasta daisies, which I'm totally all about that, because again, I can put them in my new garden bed. But it's finally blooming for me now, and what a pretty little daisy that is. And I love the foliage. Like, it's kind of, I love this type of foliage. It looks kind of like a rose, if you know what I mean, the way that they fan out, and I just love that. Another bloom is popping there. In this container, not for much longer, is an annual type of Coreopsis called a Coreopsis Incredible Swirl. And this one, again, got all crispy when I was on vacation, cut it all back. It started to bloom again, but the blooms are very short-lived now, and it's just having a hard time in this heat. I know Coreopsis is supposed to be super heat tolerant, but this particular variety of Coreopsis, I'm just not having any luck with it. It's just not looking the best. And so I'm going to take that out and probably put one of these perennials in its place, because I think it'll do better there than in the nursery container. So that's my plan. Coming over here is, oh, I just love this plant. This is Amaranth Love Lies Bleeding. And it's probably almost 5 feet tall. Actually, if it wasn't leaning, it would definitely be 5 feet tall. And it's just the most, I've never grown this before. I grew it from seed. It was super easy. I gave a ton of it away because I didn't have room for any others. But look at these flowers. It's incredible. It's so super fun and just so different from any other flower. But this one started getting taken over, I think, by spider mites. Do y'all see that? And the leaves are showing that effect of spider mite, although I could never find spider mites on it. So I sprayed it really, really hard this week with insecticidal soap. Like, I gave it 2 really good doses, and then now it looks like this. Like, it looks like it's just dying off now. It didn't like that. So it's okay. I enjoyed it while it lasted. We'll see if I can get it to survive. But even if it didn't, it was absolutely worth growing. It's such a beautiful, beautiful plant. And I will definitely grow this again. It's really, really cool. And then this container is a little lime hydrangea. This is in quite a bit of shade. It does get a little bit of afternoon sun, but not a whole lot, and it's not blooming for me this year. But this was propagated just last year, so it is kind of a baby, and that might be why it's not blooming yet as well, but it's doing well. And then this container, I have a blanket flower planted here. It was grown from seed, and this is, again, just kind of a placeholder for it because I'm gonna put it in the landscape in the fall. That's just a theme, isn't it, with all my containers? And that's another reason to grow containers, to have containers. But anyway, it's a fantastic plant. I love this color, and it's just prolifically blooming, and it's awesome. In this one, I have some state fair zinnias that are growing super, super tall, doing really well. I have a eucalyptus growing in here. It was given to me by my friend Kendall. She has a YouTube channel called Joyful Farmer, so check her out. She's local as well. And then I have, let's see how they're doing. I haven't checked on them in a while. This is where I grow my limelight cuttings. I take cuttings every year and pop them in the soil and see what what comes out. And this one's doing amazing. This is a baby limelight hydrangea, y'all, that really just the cutting was from late winter and popped in the soil, and it started growing. And the fact that it's growing this kind of leaf structure means that it's growing roots to support that. So I'm leaving it alone, and then after this season, I will take it out and either give it to someone that wants it or use it in my landscape. But I have a couple of them that definitely have rooted, and they're doing fabulous, as well as a white gomphrena in here. Looks good. This is a container of variegated Vinca major, and the reason that this exists is because in my front planter I have variegated Vinca major, and it's taking over where I don't want it to be. And so wherever it's rooting where I don't want it, I take it up and I just pop it in this pot. And so I can use these in other areas of my garden. I can use these in other containers, and it looks great as its own container. And so that's kind of what I do with that. And then coming over, I have 2 containers that kind of just line these little pillars of mine. This one has a foxtail fern, a couple of foxtail ferns looking great. It has an Azuratum leda. This Azuratum leda probably does the best in a container out of all of mine, and it's in the most shade, and that probably is the key. But I also have Confederate Star Jasmine planted in here, and it's taking over this pillar, which is beautiful. I have a little bit of Tradescantia zebrina in here as well, just cuttings that fell off of one on my front porch, so I've just popped it in. And again, I've popped in this variegated Vinca major, so that's cool. This one has some wax leaf begonias, just your typical annual wax leaf begonias. I've popped variegated Vinca major in here, but I've trained it to go up a trellis, which it's doing really well. And I also have black-eyed Susan vine in this one as well. And I just love the look of this trellis. I think it's beautiful. So really, this is kind of maybe in my top 5 containers, because I really love that look. It's beautiful. And then I don't want to forget, in my backyard, I have a shade garden. And I know things are getting sun right now. It's just about an hour of sun. This faces north, and it's about 9 o'clock in the morning. And so these guys are getting a little bit of morning sun, and then the rest of the afternoon and evening it is in the shade. And I have hostas in containers, and so they're so beautiful. This one got eaten by snails a little bit because I lagged slightly in applying my snail bait. I use Corey's snail bait. It works really well. But this one is my Elegans blue hosta. This one is an Elabroic hosta. Absolutely beautiful. Huge. These are 21 inch planters. So they're about 2 feet across right now, at least, maybe 3. This one is a Proven Winners variety. It is Proven Winners, Shadowland, I think Diamond Lake. Is it Diamond Lake? No, this is Woo La La. This is Shadowland Woo La La, and then this one is Shadowland Diamond Lake. And so they're just doing so well and looking so beautiful. I love this look. This, like, these 4 containers popped in, you know, a shade garden with shade plants kind of surrounding them, but then huge hostas growing in them. I really love that. I did not want to forget, I do have some hanging baskets right here. They did have fuchsia. They do have fuchsia, but the fuchsia is just not loving this heat. And I kind of knew that. I just did it to see if I could get them to survive. These 2 right here are surviving and still trying to put on buds. They're just not doing well. And then this one is gone. It has recently just passed away, and it's said goodbye. So we're gonna have to pop that out. But I kind of figured that would happen. For those of you who watched me earlier in the season and were wondering if the fuchsia ended up surviving in the mid-90s heat, no, they don't. That's okay though. It's okay. I love them. And they were really beautiful in the springtime, and they attracted hummingbirds like crazy. I did not, I consider these containers, even though maybe they're in baggies, but I wanted to show you guys. I brought back plumeria from Hawaii, where we went on vacation, and I put them, they were cuttings. I put them in baggies. I'm using the bag root method to try and grow them, and they are doing amazing. I just wanted to provide a little update. I did do a video on that. If you want to see how I did it all and what variety, well, what colors they are and all that, you can watch my video. I'll pop the link in the upper right hand portion of the screen. But they're all doing really well, and new growth on every single one of them. So I think they're all going to take. And what's cool is that when they start growing roots, which is the point of my channel, grow roots, I will be able to see the root growth and know that they're ready to be potted up. So that's kind of the point of the bag root method, but they're all doing really well. So here we are on my front porch, and I have 20-something containers, if you're counting all of these containers in this 3-tier planter stand on my front porch and in my front yard. And so let me start right here. I have this 3-tier plant stand that I got for $50. Someone was selling it in my neighborhood, and it came like rusted like this, and I had thought that I might paint it black, but I actually really like it rusted, and I just love it. So I get to put all kinds of shade containers here, because this is an area that gets a little tiny bit of morning sun, but is mostly shade. And so I picked up a canary wings begonia the other day. It's not looking the most amazing, and it was on sale, but look at those red blooms. They are so pretty. I think it will do well there. And then this is a foxtail fern that I picked up at the beginning of the season on clearance for $1 at H-E-B. And then this is a coleus, a beautiful ruffly pink coleus. It's called Coloca Rose, and you can get the seeds at Baker's Creek Heirloom Seeds. Of course, I grew this from seed and it's doing really well. It took a long time to get this thing going from seed, but now that it is, it's so cute and it's kind of petite for a coleus, and I really, really love it. And then down here, this guy I've had for a couple of months now, and it's on its second set of blooms. It's just, wow, it's awesome. This is I want to say it's a dragon wing begonia that I got from Callaway's, and it was just in a teeny tiny container. It's probably tripled in size. I'm so happy with it, and it's doing well. This guy is an Evercolor Carex that I just picked up on sale. Again, this is, late June coming into July and August is a great time to pick things up. Things are going on sale, like all of the inventory. They're trying to kind of cut down on it because things are starting to die because it's getting so hot. So this is a great time to pick things up on sale. But this Evercolor Carex is going to be a perennial. I've killed one already. So I'm trying another one, and I'm trying it out here in a pot on my porch first before I plant it in the landscape, potentially in the fall. But I love that look, and you can see I'm like stroking it because this is just kind of a texture thing for me. I love this. It's great. But this one is a begonia that is still going strong, but it is not flowering right now. I've had this since like February, y'all. This was on sale for $3, normally like $16.99 at Callaway's, and it's just kind of struggling, or all the rest of them that I got are struggling. I took them out, but this one is doing the best out of all of them. It's just, it does have some kind of pest that I just can't get rid of no matter how much I spray it with insecticidal soap. It's either spider mite or I don't know. What do y'all think that is? But anyway, it's not flowering right now. It is giving new growth, and the new growth is looking decent. So I'm just going to keep it there and see what it does. And then the bottom, I have a leather leaf fern that I got on clearance again back in February. It's just kind of surviving. It's trying to give me new growth, but it's not doing the best. And I have some ajuga that I got on clearance in February that I'm just growing here. As a placeholder, I will pop this in the landscape probably in the fall. I have a coleus that I picked up at Callaway's. This is a Proven Winners. It's something like fishnet stocking coleus. It's so cool. I just love the look of those leaves. Coleus do so well here for our heat and humidity, and so they're just amazing shade plants. They are annuals, but they are so easily propagated that you could clip some of this off end of season, grow the roots inside your house all through the winter, and then pop it back in the landscape or in a container on your porch next year. So they are great. And then I couldn't help myself purchasing this caladium that was on sale, and I almost purchased more yesterday at Shades of Green. They had some pink ones. I was so close to getting some of those. They were not on sale, but anyway, the caladium are also super, super heat tolerant. They tolerate our humidity really, really well. And so you gotta have, if you live in Texas, you gotta have a caladium. And I just had kind of forgotten about them. And I could have filled this whole thing up with caladium and been happy. I do love them. And I love all of the colors that they come in. And so anyway, I have to have at least one, right? And let's see how it does. It's probably going to get huge. Next to that is another coleus planter. This one is rainbow coleus that I grew from seed, and these were much, they were easier to germinate, they were easier to grow, they were more fast growing than the Coloca Rose was, and I have some of these in my backyard landscape too, but they are really cool and I love them. And then I have a hydrangea macrophylla I propagated last year, so this is kind of just a little safe place for it, and it's doing really well. And again, another foxtail fern that I got on clearance. Look at this new growth. Look at that. It's doing really well. And this one I picked up. This is a heuchera. I don't recall the name of this heuchera. Let's see. Redstone. Okay, this is cool. I this is a placeholder. Again, I'm not going to plant it in the landscape yet because it's just too hot right now. We're getting to the huge, like the really super high heat, July and August, and so I'm not going to plant it because I don't want to stress it. But this is, I had one that died in my side yard. I think my dog peed on it, and so it is not going to survive. So this was on sale, so I picked that up, and it'll stay here until the fall when I plant it in the side yard. And again, another ajuga that I got on clearance in February. So this is like, I don't spend a lot of money on these plants. I typically get them on clearance, but I think they look absolutely beautiful. These are the begonias that I told you I took out, that I have to figure out a place or a person that wants them. Like I said, just not doing well at all. And then down here, I gotta find a spot for this, but for now I love it here. My lovely friend Stacy, I did do a garden tour. I'll pop the link to her garden tour in the upper right hand corner if you want to see her amazing garden. But she had divided this variegated liriope, and she divided this, like, it's like a miniature little hosta, and I love these two things, and so she put them in the same pot and held them for me until I got back from vacation, and I picked those up, and these were blooming up until about a day ago. Beautiful purple blooms. I'll probably cut these bloom spikes now that they're done blooming, but thank you, Stacy. These are so beautiful, and again, these will get planted. I just hesitate to plant them right now, so they're going to stay here for now until the fall, and then they will go in one of my shade gardens. And then moving on to one of my favorite, two of my favorite containers, because if you can't tell, there's actually two containers under here, one and then two, you can't see it, but these hold my hydrangea macrophylla. This one is, I affectionately call it Big Daddy. I've had it for 14 years right here in this spot, in this container, which is down here. It's a very, very large container, but you cannot see it anymore because it is just completely full of leaves and blooms and in its glory. Even though the blooms are starting to fade, I call this the green phase of the blooms. Oh, look at, there's still a little bit of purple left in there. How pretty is that? But I'm starting to get fully used to and loving these green blooms, and I leave my blooms on, and here is why. Because if you can see, this one is a little bit past the green phase. It's turning into what I call the pink phase. The tips of the leaves or tips of the petals are starting to turn pink. And if I leave these on until, the end of the season, and I mean like December, in October, November, they will start turning a deeper pink. And then by December, these will be a deep, dark purple magenta color, and there's 60 blooms here, so this whole thing will be covered in these deep purple blooms that are just absolutely beautiful. So they last the whole season typically, unless they get fried. These guys are getting morning sun only. It is like 9 o'clock in the morning. No, it's not even 9. It's about 8:30 in the morning right now, and these guys are getting the sun that they need, but by 9:30, 10, these guys are in complete shade for the rest of the day. And that is what hydrangea macrophylla likes here in our Texas heat. So anyway, just one of my favorite plants. And then this one that's right next to it is also a hydrangea macrophylla, but it is a lace cap hydrangea, and it is a variegated lace cap hydrangea, and it bloomed for the first time for me. Sorry, I'm dealing with my shadows here, but trying to show you one of the blooms. Here's kind of what the lace cap hydrangea blooms look like, and then again, it's faded in the green phase. This is the kind of the only one that survived, and it's because it was covered with this leaf, because it didn't get watered quite enough when I was on vacation a couple weeks ago, and some things got a little crispy. So you can see there was a bloom that got crispy. These ones I missed apparently, but I pulled off all of the blooms that got crispy because, they're just going to be crispy for the rest of the season. Here's one that's super interesting. The actual centerpiece of the lace cap got crispy, but look at this. Even the petal is variegated, turning green. That is so crazy. I just noticed it yesterday and I absolutely love that. It's a variegated petal. Oh my goodness, I love that so much. But anyway, so happy with this lace cap hydrangea. I absolutely love the color of these leaves. They just give you this light green turning to cream, turning to dark green all over, and it's just absolutely stunning. And I love that it's here on my porch and everybody sees that as they walk up to the door. So let's turn over here. I'm trying to get away from my shadow. Here I have a container that has kind of a bamboo trellis, and it is full of variegated English ivy. I absolutely love this plant. So this is my evergreen for my porch. This will be just like this in the cold dead of winter with ice and snow on the ground. It will look like this, and that's what I love about English ivy. Do not let this grow in your planters or landscape though. It will try to take over, I'm telling ya. So it's beautiful in a pot, and I love containing it in a pot, but don't plant it in your landscape unless you want it absolutely everywhere and taking over everything. You will regret it, trust me. Coming over next to it is an encore azalea. I believe it's Autumn Sunset, and it is done blooming, but I have tons of new growth. I'm so pleased that I've been able to keep this azalea happy. I have killed quite a few azalea before I knew what I know now. Let's say that. I've done a lot of gardening research on my own, and I've learned so much through the years. And so now I know how to take care of an azalea. Before, when I killed them, I did not really know how to take care of an azalea. So anyway, I'm super pleased with it. And it's doing well. And then this is a variegated Vinca major. This is actually planted in my landscape as a ground cover. And it's, again, kind of a vigorous ground cover and trying to take over in areas I don't want it to. So what I've been doing this season is popping it up because it roots itself everywhere. And then the parts that are rooted, I stick them in containers because I think they're beautiful. And I kind of cut these a lot so that they don't get too super long. They do have a habit of getting really long, but I cut those and I think they're really cool. And then over here is my Gerbera daisy. Oh my goodness, I love, this is one plant. And this plant was teeny tiny, given to me in probably April or May of 2024. So it's only 1 year old, and it's just ginormous. And it's not blooming right now, but it gave me a huge show of hot pink blooms in the spring. And so now it's just focusing on leaf growth, and that's totally fine. When it's super hot like this, they don't bloom, but it'll start blooming again once our temperatures cool down, probably in September. But it's taken up this whole entire 17.5-inch pot. It's incredible. I love Gerbera daisies, and I actually do want more of these. And then over here is a beautiful planter as well. I have variegated English ivy on the bottom, along with a little bit of dianthus that pops through. And then there is a plant stand that I got for free. If you can barely see it. There's a plant stand just stuck inside that pot, and then a plant on top of it, and this is Tradescantia zebrina. So this is an annual. It's actually a house plant, and so what I typically do is bring it out here to let it grow. Then I get rid of all of the pests in the late fall, and I bring it inside to overwinter. But it really does prefer to be outside. It does not look like this through the winter, trust me. It does not like being in low light conditions like in a house, but it does love to be out here on the porch with morning sun. So it's like, I can't tell, where the Tradescantia zebrina ends. And I mean, you can because they're different colors, but you know what I mean. Like, it's just kind of creeping all inside the English ivy, and the English ivy is creeping inside of it. And it's just absolutely beautiful as a 2-tier planter. Coming over here, I have 3 containers that kind of come up my steps. And again, we're going to battle with my shadow, but that's okay. This one is so awesome. This is blanket flower, grown from seed. It's winter sown. And look at that bee trying to get on there. He's like, I'm going to fight you for that petal, for that flower. Anyway, they are so beautiful and wispy. Like any kind of breeze gets those like going. And I just love the wispiness of it. Kind of like it reminds me of Gara in a way. But I've had a lot more success with this than from Gara, that's for sure. I don't know. I just haven't been able to grow Gara very well. But these guys are awesome. And I'm doing all kinds of deadheading on this, and it's giving me bloom after bloom after bloom after bud after bud, and it is a perennial, so I will pop it in a landscape probably in the fall, maybe in the early spring, but for right now I'm growing it in that pot and it looks beautiful. And coming to this one, I knew that this one was going to peter out in the heat of the summer, and it kind of is. So this is full of Creeping Jenny at the bottom, which this Creeping Jenny is doing awesome. That Creeping Jenny is not doing awesome. That's okay. I don't know what the difference is, but this one is really, really doing well. And then I actually can't believe this lobelia is still doing well. I didn't expect this lobelia to last this long. It's absolutely striking, and I love those blue flowers, but those will probably peter out here in July and August. This might be the last you see of them, but they are so pretty. And then this is a petunia that I picked up at Callaway's. It's struggling. It's already struggling. Petunias for me, even the Supertunias, even Supertunia bubblegum, y'all. I've been able to get a Supertunia bubblegum to last all through the season, but it doesn't look great at the end of the season, let me tell you. But they just don't like the Texas heat. They just don't. But this guy struggled. I think I wasn't fertilizing it enough, and so you can see some of that foliage is just really lacking like the nitrogen that it needs. But I did give it some doses of fertilizer since, and the new growth is looking that dark green color. So I think the new growth is it's gonna do okay. I also pruned this pretty heavily before I went on vacation a month ago, and it's coming back and trying to give me those beautiful blooms, but they are a lot smaller and they're not as vibrant. So, you know, I expected the petunia to do that, to be honest. And then this container is just a little bit of a disappointment right now, but it's not its fault. This is yarrow. It's a summer pastels yarrow that I grew from seed, winter sowed, and it had beautiful blooms at the tops. And then like a week ago, look what happened. I don't know who did this. Somebody either bumped into this, fell on top of this, or picked the blooms off. I'm kind of really upset about that because I don't think it's gonna grow another set of blooms. I don't know. We'll have to see. So this container is not looking the best, but this yarrow I will definitely be able to put into the landscape next in the fall or in the early spring, and yarrow is a perennial and it'll be beautiful. So that's no problem. It's just kind of a placeholder spot right now. And then again, this Creeping Jenny probably gets a lot more sun than the other one right there. And so it's struggling a bit as well. I wanted to point out really quickly, you're going to see some things, especially in these front containers, that look like this. I did a little project with my little daycare kiddos and also my daughter, since she's home from summer. We bought some river rock and some acrylic paints, and we just painted some stones. So these are all the fruits of the spirit: love, joy, peace, and then you'll see more kindness, gladness, goodness, gentleness, self-control. All of those are in my pots now, and I love them. They're so cute. But that's what you see there. Coming on to this guy, this is a container that is inside my garden. I covered this container in my front garden tour, but just want to highlight it again because it's spectacular. This is a Limelight standard that I trained into a standard instead of having to spend a lot of money purchasing it. It's not perfect. You can see the trunk is a little bit crooked. It's okay. I learned a lot, but look at those beautiful blooms. This is its 4th year, I believe, and finally it has this tree shape. It takes a long time to train these guys to look like this. And then down below it is a beautiful combination I have a little sign that says, say hello to my little friends. I love that. But I have dichondra, I have blue scavola, I have cascading vinca white and a cascading vinca pink. And those are all just kind of coming into each other and spilling over the edge and doing just absolutely beautiful. This is exactly what I wanted for this container, and I'm so pleased with it. And then I'll cover this container because it is in a container, but I have a topiary here. This is Carolina Sapphire Cypress, and it's in a 3-ball topiary, and it's doing really well. I have another little thing that my daughter painted there, and it has my channel name in it, Grow Roots. I don't know why this is all covered up, but there's another stone and a little grasshopper there. Then I have 2 curbside containers that I have planted, and I just love them this year. They have Mystic Spires Blue Salvia. This is the toughest. Look at that bee already on there. The pollinators absolutely love this plant. The bees are usually all over it, and the Mystic Spires Blue Salvia survived the winter for me. So this is its 2nd season in this pot, and they are just unbelievable. And then down below it is some pink and white vinca that I picked up, and that's looking really good. And then this one is much the same, it just has one addition to it, and it has some sparkling amethyst superbena that overwintered for me, and so it's kind of coming into the vinca down here, which is spectacular. That's a beautiful combination. And then it has that thriller part of the Mystic Spires Blue Salvia, and they are just really truly so beautiful. So here's kind of a view of how they frame the curbside appeal of our house. I just love that look. All right, well, that concludes my container garden tour for June of 2025. I just want to thank each and every one of you for watching. If you watched all the way through to this part, oh my goodness, I love y'all. I love you so much for the support that you give my channel, and thank you again. I hope that you have a beautiful day, everybody. Goodbye.